Coming up on this episode of the Village Idiom.
There. We lost the last lust list. But at least...
That's so ridiculous.
Anyway.
Of all the lists.
Of all the lists, we lost the last
list.
list.
You lost the lust list. You had the last list. You lost it.
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every week we take a popular saying and take an admittedly shallow, hopefully comedic, once in a while interesting, if we're lucky, educational dive into its meaning, its usage, its origins, its history, but mostly we just use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I'm green with envy.
Look at that, we match.
Today.
It's a good thing we have a monitor. We get to stare at ourselves all the time.
There's nothing that makes me so happy as to look at us. Let the narcissism flow. It's
Right?
just green. It's green. I'm just envy.
Green.
It's not even a green with envy idiom
It's
today.
it looks like we're hiding in moss.
Like Christmas trees.
Yeah, it's festive.
I like it.
It's
I
positive spin.
got it the other day with the family and chopped the tree down.
Oh, did you go and do the thing?
Did the thing. Chopped the tree down.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I got out a ladder and helped take down bins of Christmas stuff from the loft.
That works.
Yeah, is that the same?
It's pretty much.
It's all Christmas traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also, speaking of chopped down, my mother-in-law's garage had a bit of a rat problem. So was in there setting up traps and stuff. And so when I was getting down Christmas stuff, I'll go around and check all the traps. All of them were triggered. She told me she had already dealt with 2.
Wow.
So I'm like, maybe you got rid of them all. And so I'm like, I'll reset them all anyway. So grab her all these traps. And one of them is one of those black. I had some regular, like classic
kind?
wooden ones. And then these black ones, which are like.
It's like a cat head.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So
it's by the company Tomcat.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And so I go to open that one and there's a head inside.
Like it lopped its head
It lopped its head off, but no body to be found.
Oh, the other
anywhere.
guys ate the body.
I was like, was it like a chicken with its head cut off? Did it run away with no head, or did its buddies
Oh my
drag
goodness.
him away?
I can't see a thing.
I don't know, but it was like
Guaranteed, they're like all carnivorous, and they
Dragged it off somewhere and ate it?
Yeah, but guaranteed his friends ate them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that means there's friends though.
Oh yeah. Well, the other 2 that she got.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, so I've been in this battle with a rat who is found home under my hot tub.
Oh no,
It's
warm there.
It's warm. It's freezing out, winter, snow, etc., etc. But so I'd like cleaned up everything, got it all like, okay, I don't think it's here. Had all the sides off of it. I'm like, okay, it's good. And then it's like next day, there's a little pile of insulation kind of all chewed up beside the hot tub. I'm like, okay, like there's still something here, and that's fine. Okay, getting all the traps and all the. Next morning, bam, victory, victory. Yeah, killed it. And then Deb's like, you should probably just reset the traps and everything. Cause
Totally.
Well, there's 1, there's 10.
It's more with mice, but there's sometimes a few, yeah.
Yeah. And so the traps have been set off, but not captured. So he has friends,
Right.
rats, which is also not today's idiom. It's not green with envy or freaking rats.
No, last week's idiom was brought to us by Kevin James, and he wanted to come back again. So
Let's do it.
from Kevin James.
Last but not least.
Last but not least.
Last but not least.
That's us. Like in the podcast ratings. It's probably last, but it's definitely not. There's worse podcasts.
There's worse, but they're not last.
But they're not last. It's like an honor.
We excel at things.
It's an honor.
Yeah,
It's an honor to be last,
If
but
you're
not
going to do
least.
something, make sure it's noteworthy.
Nobody ever gets introduced as least but not last.
Well, I think of like, who's the worst long distance ski jumper?
I don't know.
Don't you? Eddie the Eagle.
Oh, right.
See, you actually might know his name
Right.
because he's the worst.
He's not the worst.
He's
worse.
last, but not least.
Wow.
I actually know his name. The other ones are all named like Bjorn and Bork and Sven and whatever, some Scandinavian thing.
That's funny. Yeah, we do know the last but not least, or the least No, last and least. No, I'm least. I'm less of a ski jumper than him. So he's last.
He's last, but he's not least.
Yeah, but
he's
he's
actually
not.
noteworthy.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a movie after him.
Bork doesn't.
Only few of us can say that.
Bjorn to rock.
There's a movie that he's in. Well, yeah, so we'll cover that today. A little, of course, last but not least is used to denote that something you say is last in the sequence, but it's not the least of importance. And that is how that is said. It's, I was preparing for this one, what little information I could find, and I'm like, is this even an idiom? Or is it bang on what it is? We've covered other.
It pops up in the idioms.
We've covered other phrases and sayings that aren't necessarily idioms, but an idiom has to mean something other than what it says. But I think this one is on the nose.
When I was looking up last but not least and looking at other things, there was a tie. A tie. Whoop, you good? Come out of him.
No, it was
your Diet Coke jumped out.
No, this is what just happened. I have rats in my head because we were talking about it. Oh. And when I leaned back to drink, my headphone cord rubbed against my toes. And it made me think of rodents.
There's rats in here right now.
Never seen a rodent in the studio ever. But
last but not least, Thai. In Thai. And came up a person's name with the same first and last name. In Thai, it was a win-win situation. Which is just for the one person out there who knows a Thai win. NGUY or NGYU, it's a win-win situation. First and last.
And it's Thai.
It's Thai.
That's quite the combination of details to make that work.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's first and last. Other first and last related things. You got any?
No, I thought you had a list. You seemed like you were geared up for something.
No, I don't have any. That was the one.
I was looking dreamily at you, like, where's this going?
No, the only so when I was investigating through, the only other thing that came up, which struck me funny, someone had written the story of the tortoise and the hare.
Right.
The first and last, whatever the. Anyways, and it's so they wrote, did you hear about the racing snail who got rid of his shell?
No.
He thought it would make him faster, but it actually made him sluggish.
That's great.
So that was about the only thing that came up.
That's actually great.
First and last.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Well, thank you for listening.
It's last but not least.
Last but not least. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, "Oh, what idioms are you doing next?" And I said, "Last but not least." And they're like, "Oh." I said, "What? Like, should you really do that now?" I said, "Why?"
Like we should say that one for the very
They're
last
like, well,
one.
eventually you're going to have a final episode. And you might want to have one. I'm like, well, we're doing this one.
We've done the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my response. I said our last episode won't be a podcast at all. It'll just be a large woman singing.
That's awesome.
You'll have to figure it out.
Have to figure this one out.
Yeah, but we should probably look down our list of future idioms and go, that's the one. That'll be our final.
The wrap up,
whatever. There's got to be something we haven't done.
Oh, sure.
Kick the bucket.
Well,
I guess it depends on why we're having our final
depends
episode.
on how many
I can't
trips
even,
you have in Hawaii.
I can't imagine us ending this.
No. You make it think like we have lives and things.
Last but not least, I hope we end up with the most episodes a podcast has ever had without an audience. I did hear just recently, I'm going to get the numbers. Did I say this on here before? That there's,
we should
I think
go
30,
to we're like in our 80s and we're just like all just you wheel us up
we're
to the
repeating
podium.
Idioms. We had no idea. We've done this before.
Doesn't matter.
I heard that there's 30 million some odd podcasts.
Okay.
But when you start to whittle that down, if you take that has released an episode in the last month that has more than 10 episodes, I can't remember all the factors, but they weren't like daily or weekly. It was just within a month, more than 10 episodes. It gets down to like the hundreds of thousands. And so with only a few more details, we're probably in the top 10,000.
You think?
I mean, we're last.
We're not
not
least. That's like, just keep pumping about just old.
I mean,
We're like 80.
we actually have no idea. When's the last time you did any tracking of listenership?
We don't.
We don't.
We enjoy it. We're having fun.
Yeah, we have no
Hope
idea.
the village children
I
come
will
along
say
for the
this.
ride.
I will say this. You know, I said last week I was recently, a couple weeks ago, in Hawaii. I took some Village Idiom podcast stickers and stuck them.
You waiting to get us in trouble internationally?
Yeah, I stuck them in some places. I'm like, somebody might notice it here.
Like ecological protected area.
You know,
this needs a sticker.
Finally, we're cracking into that Hawaiian audience that we've been looking for.
That sounds very Manoa Loa.
I was trying to reach out to the person who had us come speak there in the first place last week, and a combination of errors. It was American Thanksgiving, so they didn't get back to me right away. But it couldn't have been, when he finally called me back, it couldn't have been a more Hawaiian reason. I'm sorry I couldn't get back to you. We
frying spam?
Pretty close. Doing an emu over Thanksgiving is pretty time consuming, and we basically watching it 24 hours a day. And I'm like,
cooking an emu?
Like the giant bird? He goes, no. Emu is IMU is that big underground oven. Wrap your food in banana leaves,
like
bake it
doing
all
like a luau thing.
Yeah, so like that. They were doing it for their
Gliki,
group
hupki,
for
humi.
Thanksgiving. And I'm like, you couldn't get back to me because you were cooking underground.
This
Like,
was
aloha. Yeah, I love it. I'm moving there.
Oh yeah, it's so beautiful.
If I had I've said it before. If I had a reason, if
It might be one of the last
I could make
states
money,
on that to join the states,
it was the last. Yeah,
but it's not the least.
but it's definitely not the least. Small? No, not even the smallest. Maybe the least population. I don't know. Maine and Delaware. Yeah, it's not the least anything.
Isn't Vermont like have like 600,000 or something? Like
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I don't know. America.
Well, anyway, all right. So last but not least, that's today's idiom. We might as well hit the ground running, want to?
Let's do it. Let's find out where this bad girl comes from.
Interesting.
I said some words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origin.
You are feeling that in the zone. Now, I said interesting
She's
because you
bad.
said bad girl.
I know it's
And I
always
feel like I would go, let's check out this bad boy.
yeah. I always say bad boy, and it specifically came into my mind to just equal it up a bit.
Wow. You're so woke.
But then I started going into an accent that you do where when you do it's like it's bad. And then I'm like, and there it is. That's why I don't say that. It's a bad boy. This episode is a bad boy because I'm just going to get in trouble for saying something stupid.
Oh, that's great. Well, we know last but not least. So I didn't know. I'm interrupting myself with something else. I didn't know this to be true until I read it, and I'm like, yeah. Which is this: we know last but not least best from its use in theater, specifically, as they introduced the cast, because, and presumably it
Hawaiian theater, which
presumably
is
specifically,
yeah.
Because you say last but not least because the star comes out at the end. So that's why you hear it so often in that regards, because
That's not where I think it comes from.
where do you think it comes from?
Are you telling me that that's where it comes from? It's from theater?
Maybe.
So I think it comes from one of the most read books of all time, the Word of God. The first should be last. The last should be first.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
49. What's the the
Oh,
answer
yeah,
to the universe?
42, yeah.
42.
So the sentence I read was, we know that last but not least is most often heard in that type of scenario today.
I think when giving out it's funny. I never thought I was going to say no. It's usually when you're like giving out awards.
But they do the biggest award
which is at the end.
At the end.
Yeah, that's
In
funny.
The Oscars, everything. It's always the
Well, you
biggest.
just don't want to have the person who went last feel like, like your thing is the crappiest. So they're last, but they're not least. Like, but you got to
Right.
put things in an order. If I got to do it alphabetically, and it's
Well,
like,
plus the audience leaves if you give away the good award at the beginning.
would you?
Well, like if you're at, well, maybe not the Oscars, but I don't know. You want the people anticipating.
I think it's a way of acknowledging, even if someone's like, like you have to present things in some order, and so it's like they're last, but they're not least.
Right. Well, the origin of Last But Not Least is actually uncertain, but the first reference to it that was found, and we'll come back to the Word of God part of this, in print was from John Lyly's Euphues and his England, 1580. I have heard oftentimes that in love there are three things for it to be used: if time serve, violence; if wealth be great, gold; if necessity compel, sorcery. But of these three, but one can stand me instead, the last, but not the least, which is able to work the minds of all women like wax. Which, is that maybe why you said bad girl?
Maybe.
Be able to work all women like wax. But last but not least is used there. So the idea, here you go. The idea of the actual phrase may have been inspired by the Bible.
The Bible.
Matthew 19:30.
Yes.
Specifically, John Wycliffe's version,
Yes.
1382, you find this. But man ye shouldn't be the first the last, and the last the first.
It's a total Bible ripoff.
The first shall be last, the last shall be first. But it's not last but not least.
No, it's got a more.
But it seems
it's got a good spin on it.
Definitely has a lot of arrows pointing to it being influenced by this quote from the Bible.
John
Wycliffe,
Wycliffe.
yeah. Shakespeare later used a version of it in King Lear, 1605. King Lear says, "To thee and thine hereditary ever remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and pleasure than that conferred on Goneril.
Hello.
Now our joy, although the last not least, to whose young love the vines of France and milk of Burgundy strive to be interest. What can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters speak?" I think it's also like the last shall be first, the first shall be the last. And then combine that with like how many scriptures kind of lean towards whatever you've done to the least of these, that kind of reference. But I think it's specifically in English because last and least are similar words.
It's
that's why it's stuck.
Yeah, like conceptually, I think that part of like preferring others to yourself and giving preference to others, so that it's not like the kid who runs up in line to be first. I want to be first. I want to choose the best one. I want the biggest this. I want to choose, and it's very self, as opposed to like preferring others. You go ahead. It's fine. You go ahead.
Right.
Yeah. But the last isn't the least.
No, but
The greatest would be the last.
But it's not like it says the end of the sequence, but not the least significant. Like last and least, it's catchy. Like that's why it's stuck. No matter where it came from, it still is
It
said.
matters.
It still is said because it's LST. Last, least, last, list. Last on the list, but not least.
Lust.
The last lust on the list, but not the least. Lost. Got to work lost into there. We lost the last lust list. But at least. That's so ridiculous. Anyway.
Of all the lists.
We lost
I can't
the
believe
lust
you
list.
you lost the lust list. You had the last list. You
I
lost
lost
it.
But it
Lest-
wasn't the least list.
lest-
It wasn't the least lust list we had. I feel like I need to swallow the saliva in my mouth. Least lust list. Anyway, there you go. The Bible, Old
funny.
English, Wycliffe,
John
theater.
Wycliffe. Yeah, it's good.
catchy words. All of those combinations bring us to a evergreen idiom known as last but not least.
I like it. It's funny when you have like the Canadian standoff. at like a buffet or something, or you're like lining.
Is that where you wear a jean jacket and denim pants together?
That's like a Canadian tuxedo, I think.
Oh.
No, when you're at like, lining up for something. If it's like a buffet or you're lining up, it's like, no, please, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Right.
I really want to jump in here, but you go ahead.
Oh, it's like
The party I'm with is already
drivers
through.
where you're like, you wave them like, you go ahead, and they wave you back. No, if there's a wave, you go.
Just don't look and keep driving.
Ugh. I hate when I go, you go ahead, and they wave back. No, you go ahead.
You go ahead.
Hey,
how's it going there,
now
bud?
you know you're both going to pull out at the same time, and you'll be angry instead of friendly.
It's your turn to go there, bud. You going for a rip, eh?
Oh, Canada.
You're going for a rip, guy?
I go for a rip.
Go for a rip. It's your turn there, bud. You going for a rip?
Canadian.
He's like, yeah, I lost my lust list.
At least I don't know.
So anyways,
It was the last list I lost. Which list? The last list.
Who's on first?
Well, what do you say to
Let's get some riddles going.
a game of
I don't
riddling?
know why that amused me so much. It's so dumb.
Riddling is a game we like to play. It takes a two-part trivia-based question, requires a two-part overlapping answer, overlapping by syllable or words. So, for example, last week we did knee-jerk reaction was our idiom du jour. And we left you with this one. This immediate reaction is the nerdy character in Family Matters. One more time. This immediate reaction is the nerdy character in Family Matters. You got that.
Don't. Knee-jerk reaction Jackson.
Family Matters? You know the nerdy character in Family Matters?
No, I was thinking of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, knee-jerkle.
Oh, that upsets me.
That's how you play it. So you got knee-jerk, you got Urkel. The correct answer is knee-jerkle. Can I do that?
Yeah, no. There was the phrase in there. Well, I've got two prepared.
Hey, I got two.
Well, let me go first here.
All right.
Okay. Ricky Bobby's racing creed is final yet important. Ricky Bobby's racing creed is final yet important.
I don't know what it is. Go fast, don't be last. Go fast, don't be last but not least.
Village Idiom children, I
don't
know
know.
you're screaming it.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, it's if you ain't first, you're last, but not least.
Oh, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
All right.
Ricky Bobby.
That's kind of like, do you ever watch
If you ain't first, you're last.
like a beauty pageant, Miss America, whatever, and they got the fourth runner-up, third runner-up, and then they don't announce the first or third, second. They don't announce the first runner-up. They go right to the winner. Mm-hmm. That first runner-up is a sucky position to be in because if you come in third runner-up, you're brought out, you're given your flowers, everybody acknowledges you. Second runner-up, same thing. First runner-up, you just stand there while the actual winner steps in front of you.
Do they only do that if there's like 4? But if there's 10, it's like, who's going to know who was second to last? Because there's no anticipation. It's one of these other 6 or 15.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
The anticipation
That's
would
true.
be gone.
That would be a better way to do it. Yeah. That's a good
And
point.
I also can't imagine myself at a beauty pageant.
I can't imagine myself not at one. whatever that means. All right, here's my first one.
Okay.
You're final. You aren't insignificant. You egg-dropping rabbit. One more time.
Oh.
You're final. You aren't insignificant. You egg-dropping rabbit.
Last but not leaster bunny.
That's correct. That was really hard to not use the words in last but not least.
Yeah, sometimes that's the big giveaway, is the
Yeah.
words not being used. Like, he's really working to not use these words.
That's right.
Okay. I got a second one here for you. Village Idiom children. See if you can beat Mark to this one. Famous Bible translator and theologian is a Haitian rapper.
Oh, I like it. Say it again. Little change of sound, but
Famous Bible translator and theologian is a Haitian rapper.
I'm going to go with Wycliffe John. Oh, wait. John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe John. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Clef, but
Yeah, it was close.
John Wycliffe John. That's great.
Wycliffe Jean.
Little double. That's a win-win. It's a tie win-win.
That's a good one. That's first and last, baby.
First and last. Well, you got one more?
No, that was my second one.
Oh, I got one more.
Yeah, you do.
Last.But.Not.Least.
But I do have a way for them to reach out to us. Illegitimate children, may I beseech you? Lend me your ears. Reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email us the Village Idiom. The Village Idiom Podcast at gmail.com, or whether it's the Facebook, the YouTubes, or the Twitters at 3 Minutes Gone.
Beautiful. Here's the last one, but not the least one. It's the last on the list. Okay. The expensive front seats of a plane are the end, yet still valuable. The expensive front seats of a plane are the end, but still valuable.
Classic. And that is 3 Minutes Gone. That's a good one.
Whew. That was work.
Yeah, we choked it out.
This one, I found one more clip. This is from the 1977 Fantasy Island TV show. And of all the clips I could find, I liked this one just because of how specific it was. It goes like this.
And last but not least, Hannah Baker.
I hope there's a Hannah Baker out there. That was for you.
Hannah Baker, this is for your day. If you know one, send it to her. Spread the love. Yeah,
right.
Feel free to always pass along your love of the podcast to anyone who might enjoy wasting 25 minutes on the treadmill or on their way to work. Once a week, we do it Thursdays.
There's probably some people that like sit down at a desk with notepad and pen and then press play.
There's probably some person with like English as a second language trying to figure out idioms going, I don't think that podcast helped me.
Not helpful. Last on my list. Last and least. Not helpful.
But anyways, I'm Skinny.
I'm Jurassic Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Uh-huh. What were you?
That's 3 minutes gone.